Hey guys, it's Chronix here. Today we're coming back with a little breakdown of Spoken Words Are Meant to Last. By me. You know, good song. It's my longest song to date easily. I mean, look at this, 240 bars. It's 160 BPM, which means it goes perfectly to 6 minutes. So, yeah, it's definitely my longest song, and it's pretty meaningful. This song meant a lot to me when I made it, which was February 23rd. That's already like 6 months ago. That's crazy. But I'm gonna go ahead and get into my sample choices and all that real quick. So this sample's a song called Shoebox Memories by Better Luck Next Time. They're an emo band, and I kind of discovered the sample through a Lil Peep song called Kiss. In my opinion, that's his best song, by the way. You should go listen to it. But it's like the intro sample, and I like what they did with it so much that I decided that I should try and sample it. So, basically, I sampled the acoustic version, and it starts out like this. And it didn't have a filter on it yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and move that back. It sounded somewhat like this.
Happy.
So I decided I'll sample that for the intro. And at the time I was watching I was watching the Twilight movies, and this like section right here, it kind of meant something at the time, so I decided I should go ahead and sample it. It's from the second movie, Twilight New Moon, and it gets a lot of hate, but I personally enjoyed the movie. So I sampled it right there, the little scene.
The only reason I left was because I thought I was protecting you. Happy was the heart.
So there's a lot of effects that go with that. So first of all, I got FabFilter Pro DS. It's a de-esser. At first the S's were really harsh, and that was because of the reverb that I have on it. So I just put a de-esser on it to kind of mud out the S's, and the reverb would, kind of bring them back in so it would sound right. I added a compressor because the original clip, as you can see, it's like really, really quiet, but I couldn't do anything about that because, as you can see at the end of the clip, the part that I didn't sample, it's really loud, so I can't like normalize it. So what I did is I turned the volume up a lot on here, and then I kind of compressed it. And then I also have a reverb send, but apparently I'm not using that for this track. So then this sample right here, this is actually a sample from my camera roll. I won't kind of get into what it means because it's really, I don't want to invade anyone's privacy, but it's in there. It means something, but I can't really speak on it.
Stop hiding from the camera. Is that pretty? Stop hiding from the camera. Nate, tell you to stop hiding from the camera. Stop it immediately.
So I decided, since it meant a lot to me, I should go ahead and put it in there. So I put it in right here, right at the beginning, right before the vocals come in.
Is that pretty? Stop hiding from the camera.
And I also have the filter open up.
Nate, tell you to stop hiding from the camera. Stop it immediately.
Spoken words are meant to last.
And then I have the vocals come in, obviously. This song was worked on a long time. It's gone through many iterations, and the biggest change between all the versions is the pitch of the sample. I've changed the key of the song so many times, it's crazy. So originally it was probably something like this.
Spoken words are meant to last, but the picture faded fast.
And then it was like something like this.
Spoken words are meant to last, but the picture faded fast.
And then I kind of settled on something like this.
Spoken
words are meant to last, but the picture faded fast. The words I love you meant so much.
I eventually settled on that, and then with the 808, it's basic Nick Mira 808. And I basically just followed the melody, I guess. When it comes to sampling emo songs, what I've learned is that you can look up like guitar chords and you can follow the 808 with that, and usually it goes really well, but this was before I kind of figured that out, so I just kind of used my ears and followed it, so it goes kind of like this. So it's one of the more simple 808 patterns, but it gets its job done, especially with the kick. Kick is a rack kick that's really loud, and also have a reese that comes in later, a snare. I like to use this snare in a lot of my more sad music, I guess. Hi-hat, just a simple downtime hat with a shitload of reverb on it. Open hat. And a gyro. So I found this gyro in either a Metro Boomin or a Luger pack, and I've been using it ever since. It's really good texture to kind of put under a snare, or in this case, kind of like a chant. It's just a really good texture. So there's also reverse kicks. So reverse kicks kind of go into the verse. And right here, there's some creative arrangement. So we'll go ahead and start right here. So I decided right here to kind of extend out the way, into just have it by itself, and then I'd reverse kick into the next one. So for right here, there's also just kick, no 808, and then there's another reverse kick into the 808 pattern. So it goes kind of like this. So that's pretty much it for the verse, and then there's kind of like an interlude with the reese right here that just follows it kind of hints at the next 808 pattern, so it just follows that pattern. And there's also a kickstart on it, which makes it sidechain. Mixes at 75%, otherwise default preset. And that's pretty much it for this whole section. that's pretty much it for this and this section. Right here, this is Lil Peep interview, which I also decided to sample because, I mean, it's Lil Peep. And, I mean, I kind of felt what he was saying here, so I decided I should also go ahead and put it in here.
I mean, shit, everything changes with time. Like, you can't predict where you're gonna be next year. You have no idea.
So I put delay, reverb on it, plus there's some effects under, which we'll get to. The name of the video is right there if you want to go look it up on YouTube. So right here, this is kind of extending out the background noise. So if I didn't have this here, for example, like if I move it to another track and I disable it and I bring everything else in,
get better. And also you have to be grateful. Live on for them, you know what I mean? Live the life that they were supposed to live.
You see there's a little cutoff with the noise that's in the background, so I decided to just kind of cut from this portion of dead air and just extend it out to the end of the song, so it sounds it doesn't have the abrupt little cutoff. So now we got 3 ambiances that I added. There's a supermarket, which I can play for you. This is the same supermarket that's in my sample pack. Should be in the description. It's just people talking. It fills up space in the mix. There's also a thunderstorm. This was in delay sample pack and then vinyl. Which was also in delay sample pack. And then down here we just got the little white noise. So now let's get to the effects. So there's just a lot of reverb in this track. There's a balance that lets me fade in. I automate this right here and not the actual slider. Kick has this EQ on it. Then the 808 sidechain to the kick. Also an Edison right here because I cut the 808 a little bit. Did some little editing. EQ is blank. Now going to the Reese, and there's just like this slim portion right here, so it doesn't, because this portion right here would interfere with the sample, so I just boosted right here to make up for that, give it some more low end, some more texture, more bump. And there's a cutoff right here at 255 hertz, and a cut at 51. It's in its little pocket. And then snare, it has an EQ, a little bump at 800. Closed hat also has an EQ. I went out of my way to EQ everything on this track, so there's a cut at 2000 and a cut at 10,000. Then we go to the open hat. It's the same exact EQ, except it's at 15,000 hertz. Gyro, it's cut off at 800. And then here we go to the sample. So FabFilter Pro L, it's a really good thing. It's just one kind of slider that makes everything louder. So the sample was kind of really low and kind of muddy, but this brought it out, made it louder. Added an EQ, put it in its pocket, so I cut off the highs, which were kind of just distortion, and cut off the lows, so we have space down there. Gave ambiance its own channel, so these three, it all goes into this channel. See, it's send, and there's a fruity balance down here that I automate, and then these all have EQs on them. And then the sample from my phone, it has a compressor on it, so you can kind of figure out what we're saying. It's a conversation, but you kind of can't figure out what we're saying because of how low quality it is. And then a Maximus, brings it out. You got a de-esser right here to make it not harsh, and then EQ again to make it sit in its pocket. The Twilight sample, which I went over, and the white noise, which is all the way down there, with this low cut right here, because the white noise effect that I'm using, it has a really harsh low end, so I just kind of cut that out. And then we have a reverb send right here. Use reverb sends. They are really, really good to have. So I'm using a Valhalla Vintage Verb. This is almost default preset, I think, except I made it 2 seconds, and instead of messing with the low cut right here, I just cut it at 500 hertz there. Always use reverb sends. And then the Lil Peep interview, de-esser, compressor, a slight boost to 238, delay, and reverb on it. And then we have a pre-mastered track that everything goes into. It wasn't used for anything originally. This was to help me do some gain staging and try and figure out how to mix this. Honestly, I'm kind of disappointed with the way I mixed this, but I can't really change it. So that's pretty much it. There's some automations right here, which, I mean, if you look at them, they do pretty much what they say. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, this song meant a lot to me. I'm glad I had the privilege of putting it out. I'm glad I have the privilege of expressing my feelings in this way. And I'm glad that it's also very well streamed on the platforms that it's on. Go stream Young Tipper 2, out now. It's been out for almost a month now. Almost 2 months, actually. So go stream that. Links are in the description. Chronixx, I'm out. Thanks for watching.